Good morning and welcome back to the Brick by Brick podcast with Ronald Pauleus. We're celebrating a big week this week, 250 years of freedom. It's a special episode. Think about that, 250 years. Isn't that insane? Isn't that crazy? Most businesses don't survive 10 years. Most organizations don't survive 50. Most nations don't make it over 100. 255 years. We've endured wars, depressions, political upheaval, economic uncertainty, cultural revolutions, technological revolutions, and countless challenges. This is an episode about leadership, mindset episode, a freedom episode, a building episode. Because whether you're building a business, a family, a church, a career, a country, the same principles tend to apply. And that's why I've called this the Brick by Brick podcast, because there are principles woven throughout this universe by God himself that anyone could take advantage of. And I want to look at how America has taken advantage of some of those principles. America wasn't built overnight. It was built brick by brick. What can we learn? And why do these principles that built a nation, how can they help us build our future? I want to talk first about great things are built by ordinary people. One of the biggest myths in history is that America was built by extraordinary people. We look back and we marvel, and it's amazing. But they were ordinary people who made extraordinary decisions. Think about that. Most of the signers of the I'm tripping over my words. Declaration of Independence, they weren't celebrities. They weren't influencers. They weren't world famous. They were ordinary men who made extraordinary commitment. July 4th, 1776, 56 men signed a document that cost them everything. It cost them their business. It cost them their property, their freedom, their even lives. Benjamin Franklin famously remarked, "We must all hang together, or assuredly we shall all hang separately." These men understood something modern culture often forgets, and it's that freedom requires sacrifice. Success requires sacrifice. Building anything worthwhile requires sacrifice. Can you imagine putting your name on a piece of document that would lead to your execution? Hey, my name's Ronald Pauleus. Yes, I'm the one. Come execute me. That's exactly what these guys did. They signed the Declaration of Independence, but they also signed the declaration that they were the ones who should be executed. And I think people don't realize how it's the ordinary people who end up making extraordinary decisions that bring about extraordinary results. These are just regular guys. Now, I don't want to lessen their intelligence and all they've done. We had generals, and their rhetorical power was amazing. Literature power was amazing. They were ordinary people. And what made them stand out is that they stood for something. Freedom. And freedom is never free. One of the most dangerous things that can happen is forgetting the cost of freedom. Every generation inherits blessings they did not create. Today, you eat fruit from a tree you did not plant. We inherit roads we didn't build, systems we didn't create, freedoms we didn't establish, opportunities we didn't fight for. But here's the challenge: if we forget the cost, we eventually lose appreciation. 250 years is a big deal because it came with great costs. President Ronald Reagan once said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." Think about that. Freedom isn't automatic. Neither is success. Neither is financial freedom. Neither is a healthy marriage. Neither is a thriving business. Everything worthwhile must be maintained, must be fought for, must be desired. And people nowadays, they want freedom without the responsibility. But those two things are inseparable. The more freedom you want, the more responsibility you'll have to embrace. And what I love about America is that it's a story about possibilities. One reason America became such a powerful nation is it's the beacon of hope. Its flag stands for freedom and possibility, a dream, the American dream. For generations, people came here with almost nothing, no money, no influence, no connections, and yet they built extraordinary lives. Not because success was guaranteed, but because opportunity was possible. The belief that I might, maybe, someday. Powerful words that capture the imagination. The same principle applies to your life. Most people are limited by their reality. They're limited by what they believe is possible. But once you get an idea, oh, the difference an idea makes. For years, people thought the 4-minute mile was unachievable, something that can never be done. No, the limit was it was physically impossible, mentally impossible. This, that. Then one day, a man named Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. For years, remember, people couldn't do it. All of a sudden, someone did. And you know what ended up happening? Several other people broke the 4-minute mile after that. We went from, no one could ever possibly do this. It's impossible. No one could do it. Someone did it. And then like 20, 30 other people did it after. And people are still breaking it now without the highlights, without being known. What broke the glass ceiling? It was someone doing it and then other people seeing that and visualizing that and realizing, oh, I can probably do that too. And they did. America is a nation of possibility. It's a story that grips our hearts. My mom sailed the great blue ocean, the great blue sea to make it here with no dollars in her pocket because of possibility. My friends, my family, they tell me of a trail that people cross, and tons of women cross it too. It's a trail they can walk from south of America to come here. And I hear it's one of the most dangerous paths to take here. People get raped, people get killed, people die, dehydration. It's just horrible. And yet people take it all the time. What would compel people to take upon themselves a journey that could potentially lead to their death because of the path they're on, because of the obstacles it takes to get to where they want to head? What would compel them to say it's better to go through this hardship and to make it than to not face any hardship and be here? Possibility. The thought that they can, with their own 2 hands and 2 feet, change their circumstance by taking action, building brick by brick. And that's the spirit we have here in America. It's the spirit of builders, farmers, inventors, entrepreneurs, teachers, pastors, mothers, fathers, workers, dreamers, people who saw something that didn't exist and decided to create it. People who said, we can build this. I wonder what it'd be like to make this. What if we could get into the air? They thought about it. Use their 2 hands to force it into reality. Think about some of the innovations that have changed the world. The light bulb, the airplane, the assembly line, the internet, modern day computing, medical advancements, space exploration. These things didn't just come out of nowhere. I mean, they did. And maybe I should say, they didn't just appear magically. They were built by the hands of those who were and are builders. And here's what one of the things builders understand. The process is slow. Brick by brick, day by day, year by year. Thomas Edison, he said, opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Isn't it funny? You know when everyone can spot an opportunity? When it's already passed by. So, oh wow, look at that. I should have been investing in, should have been doing. Oh yeah. That's when everybody can spot it. But when it's coming your way, it's like, okay, who is that person? What is that? Ooh, that looks like a challenge. That looks like work. But you're on this podcast because you're a builder. You're listening because you're a builder. Yeah, there are times when opportunities pass by and I still to this day look back like, man, I just should have done that. But you're a builder because at least you're laying brick. And that's the whole point. Resilience is one of the next things I want to talk about through adversity. America's story is not a story of perfection. It's a story of resilience. The Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the Great Depression, World War wars, economic collapse, national tragedies. Yet somehow the nation keeps moving forward. Why? Because resilience matters more than perfection. And the same is true for your life. You don't need a perfect plan to start. You need to just start. You don't need a perfect roadmap. You just need staying power. You don't need a perfect year. You just need perseverance. You don't need a perfect business. You just need resilience. Guys, you gotta keep going. President Abraham Lincoln lost elections, lost business ventures, faced tremendous setbacks. And you know why we know about him today? Because he kept going. Resilience is what etches your name in history in memorable fashion. You gotta push forward. When you look at America, it's like, wow, we've gone through some stuff, but the spirit of the nation has persevered. And so my question for you is, what will your legacy be? America's founders, they built something they would never fully see. Remember I shared with you earlier, you're eating fruit from trees you've never planted? Guess what? There are people who planted that tree who would never eat that fruit. You must have a generational mindset that says, I'm going to build something that serves me now, that pours into me now, that helps me now. But I have to be okay with the possibility of never reaping a single fruit from this seed I plant. Most of them never saw what the nation would become, yet they built it anyway. The Declaration of Independence, the 3 forms of government, the checks and balance, it's actually quite phenomenal. When you think about it, it prevents any one person from getting too much power and becoming a king. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's quite glorious. And they use the Holy Scriptures, the principles woven in this universe by God Himself, to create such a great nation. Will you build in such a way that blesses others? The business you may build, bless your children. The wisdom you gain today can bless future generations. The investments and challenges and risk you take today can create opportunities for people you'll never even meet. I'm building stuff right now, and my daughters, Ava and Eliana, and if the Lord gives us more kids, they'll reap benefits just from my name. Oh, Ronald was your dad. Awesome, let's do this. And I gotta be okay with that. I'm thankful for it. Great builders think beyond themselves. So the question is, if somebody was talking about your life 250 years from now, what would they be saying? What legacy are you creating? What are you leaving behind? What are you building? 250 years from now, I want my bloodline to point back and say, we're so thankful Ronald gave his life to Jesus Christ. Ronald Pauleus gave his life to Jesus Christ, and that made so much of a difference. I'm so glad Joanna Pauleus gave her life to Jesus Christ, and that made such a difference. They got married. Now they had tons of kids, and Ava and Eliana, they gave their life to Jesus Christ, and whoever they end up getting married to, and it falls down the line, and I want them to be like, wow. The God of the universe stepped into the life of Ronald, and Ronald submitted to his leadership and his authority and received from him grace and power and holiness and truth and lived a life dedicated to him. And it showed through how he loved people and how he built businesses that also served people. That's what I want them to say. As America is built, and as we come to celebrate 250 years, I'm reminded of something important. Nations are built. Businesses are built. Families are built. Marriages are built. Lives are built. Not overnight, but brick by brick. And the freedoms we enjoy today come from sacrifice. The opportunities we enjoy today came from courage. The future we hope for tomorrow, for us, will require responsibility. So, what are you doing What sacrifices are you taking that will give you freedoms tomorrow? How are you moving forward in courage that will give you opportunities tomorrow? And how are you taking responsibility that will give you hope for the future? Follow me on Instagram at Ronald Pauleus and DM me the answer to this question. What are you building that will outlive you?